Welcome, Mr. Marcin Zaborowski. He's Policy Director, Future of Security Programme, Globsec. Welcome, sir, to TP World.
Well, good to see you. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. So here we are. We've got the European parliamentary elections coming up. Hungary has been somewhat reluctant, or certainly in a timely way, to support EU initiatives to support Ukraine and perhaps increase sanctions on Russia. How do you think their attitude or that role is going to influence their power, their influence in Parliament going forward?
Well, there is a big question mark about the future of Fidesz's, Viktor Orban's party's affiliation in the European Parliament. The party was removed from the European People's Party, which is the alliance of the right party, including, for example, the Civic Coalition from Poland and the PSL, another Polish party which forms the current coalition. The German CDU, the French Republicans, and so on. So basically, any kind of the center-right parties which exist in the European Parliament, which are the biggest groupings naturally in the European Parliament. So the Fidesz was a part of that, and it was removed from that grouping. But at the same time, it didn't join any of the Eurosceptic groupings, such as the European Party of Conservatives and Reformists, or the Identity and Democracy grouping. There are three of those Eurosceptic groupings in the European Parliament. Fidesz is unaffiliated with none of them at this point in time. So, but it does bring with itself, at least at the moment, it has 12 members of the European Parliament. It may have even more after this election. So it is a sizable presence. And as such, it could be an important addition to a Eurosceptic coalition, so to speak, because all these Eurosceptic groupings which exist in the European Parliament, they might unite. And if they do, then they would form a second grouping in the European Parliament, which would be very meaningful.
And now perhaps zooming out ever so slightly, following the 2024 elections, Hungary will, of course, assume the EU presidency. In this period of institutional transition offers Hungary a chance to influence EU's priorities significantly. And now the Hungarian presidency plans to focus on restoring the EU's global competitiveness, enhancing cohesion policies, managing migration effectively, according now to Hungary itself. But what do you think awaits the EU with Hungary as a leader?
Well, because of the Lisbon Treaty, the EU treaty which was adopted in 2009, the role of the presidency of the member state is considerably diminished at this point in time. So Hungary will have some impact on the formation of the agenda for the European Council meetings and so on, but I would not exaggerate the role of the presidency as such. It is quite obvious that Hungary will be using the presidency to impose upon the EU that it wants to receive funding in the context of the COVID recovery money, in the context of the cohesion funds and so on. If not, it will be blocking EU initiatives, for example, with regard to Ukraine, which you mentioned yourself. So any kind of a positive items on the EU agenda, like Ukraine, Gaza, the further advancement of integration in foreign and security affairs, that is something which Hungary will be an odd man out, definitely blocking whatever it can, but its competences in doing that are diminished because of the treaty on the European Union, which, like I said, reduced the role of the member states' presidency.
Right. Okay. Well, that's interesting because recently the Belgian Foreign Minister Hadia Labib, in an interview with Politico, was advocating the extension of Article 7, which already has been applied to Hungary, to preventing them from voting on EU resolutions, simply because Viktor Orban's been dragging his feet on supporting them. Do you think that's likely to come about?
I think we might be moving that way. I mean, we have a situation in which Hungary is and Hungary's consistent obstruction on various EU initiatives and using it basically its veto power or a threat of using the veto. So Hungary has been getting lots of things because it has threatened to use that possibility. So during the foreign policy address to the Polish Parliament, the Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski mentioned that whilst this is perhaps not the best moment for the revision of the existing treaties or the adoption of the new treaties in the EU, because we are preoccupied with many other things, maybe we should consider the ways of actually limiting the possibility of a veto so that it wouldn't be used by obstructionist power like Hungary in the future. So I think we might be open to this kind of a discussion, and I think everybody is aware now that that veto has a destructive power for European integration, and that something needs to be done with that. So when we do embark actually on the treaty revision, which I'm uncertain whether it's going to happen very soon, then I am pretty sure that that will be one of the key items there. That one country cannot obstruct the progress and the adoption of a resolution and the adoption of policies of all the remaining 26 member states.
And a key item indeed. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and shedding light into the complexities of the political landscape in Hungary.
Thank you.